The biggest question going into this weekend, will Hugh Freeze make the proper adjustments on offense?
You are Locked On Auburn, your daily podcast on the Auburn Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, welcome on into Locked On Auburn, your daily Auburn Tigers podcast. I'm your host, Zac Blackerby, and thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day. Brian Smith, host of The Portal, that's Locked On's recruiting NIL transfer portal show, hanging out with us as he does every Thursday. Will Hugh Freeze make the proper changes needed on the offensive side of the ball? That's coming up, as well as how would you defend Georgia? We've talked about the offense, but the defense does have to continue being excellent if Auburn wants to pull this off. And obviously, we'll kind of make some projections and predictions for Saturday. But Brian, you and I hinted at this on Monday's show, but the big question I don't think is, can Auburn make the adjustments? Because I think they can. It's will they? Does Hugh Freeze want his specific style of offense to work, and he's going to try it no matter what, and doesn't mind going down with the ship? Or does he say, no, we've got enough on the roster to utilize and put these guys into positions to succeed? To me, the question is not can they, it's will they?
Unfortunately, this is not uncommon in college football. The most stubborn people on earth, I like to say, are coaches.
Yeah.
They would rather lose than change is a common phrase that I use, and somewhat facetiously, but there are guys I honestly think that would rather lose and not do it their way. A lot of those guys are now unemployed, Zach. That's just the truth. So Offensive run game, they need to call just straight up run play so they can get good running backs the ball, get the line going. Secondarily, they got to figure out a few different things on how to get Malcolm the ball, etc. I know he's been banged up a little bit, but they got to balance it out.
Now, especially after the bye week. He should be good to go.
Hopefully. And if they do those two things, that will make it easier for Cam. That's kind of the default.
Yeah.
He's going to get the bulk of their attention for obvious reasons.
And I love, there are different ways to kind of execute in these short yardage situations, or as far as what I would like to see them do more on first down. We talk about running the ball more, which is sure, but there's different ways to do that. Do you involve Jackson? Do you use Damari Austin or Jeremiah Cobb? But we saw them get positive yardage with throwing the ball quickly behind the line of scrimmage, but it seemed like they did that on 2nd and 15. I'd love to see them do that on 1st and 10. Get the ball in Malcolm's hands. Let's see if he can get a 4 or 5 yard gain on first down.
Sure.
Do the same thing with Eric Singleton. I don't know if I want to see Cam doing that, but still, you certainly could if you want to get them touches and they're playing off the ball. Try it. Why not? I want to see more of that. We saw some glimpses of creativity with how they use Singleton against A&M. I want to see that more consistently. If you're not going to run it on early downs, if you're not going to change that, there are still ways to get positive yardage that's different than what you're doing currently on early downs.
I still am baffled that they don't give the ball to Alston a little more, or whichever running back. They got 3 or 4 good running backs. Whoever's in the game, 1st and 10, if they got some experienced linemen, they got some big guys. Make it 2nd and 6, and then spring game 2. Even the tight ends, they're not dynamic. Nobody's going to cover them on first down. That's an easy pop pass, etc.
Frazier had a good game. Frazier had a really good game against Texas A&M.
I mean, those are all options that I think they should use more. And again, the next time I see Cam running down the field one-on-one, this is not a Hugh Freeze problem. And it's a guy that's 5'10", 5'11", and he doesn't throw it up to him, I'm going to call you. I'm going to be like, what's going on here?
At what point does it become a Hugh Freeze problem? I mean, Hugh Freeze, his messaging has been pretty consistent about a lot of things, including when asked about Jackson. He was asked earlier in the week about is Jackson just kind of concerned about turning the football? That's not exactly how it was worded, but same idea. And is it Hugh Freeze is begging him just to throw it up to some of these guys, and he's not doing it. He's not doing it. Yes. And at what point does it become a Hugh Freeze problem?
Your job is to get them to do the right thing even when they don't understand or they're uncomfortable. So it's his fault at the end of the day, which sucks for him, but you're making millions of dollars figuring it out.
You're the head coach.
Exactly.
If you don't win and don't move the football, like, it's on you.
That's kind of where I'm at too. So, and I don't understand the Cam Coleman thing because like that's as low hanging a fruit situation as there is. It doesn't even have to be seriously accurate. Like, don't recommend that, but like I've seen Cam do things most human beings can only imagine.
Sure.
Like right next to him. So I know what he's capable of. And I'm sure Jackson's seen it numerous times. Throw the football. He gets enough one-on-ones that it's pretty simple. So,
Yeah.
I mean, he gave problems to the Oklahoma secondary. They're pretty good. What's he going to do against some of these others that are just okay, like a Kentucky and stuff coming up? Cam should have 200 yards against Kentucky. He'll have 80, maybe. That's my guess. They don't have anybody to guard it. Georgia, I mean, if he doesn't have a great game against Georgia, I get that. But they got great coaches and players. But even they got smoked by Tennessee.
Right.
If Cam doesn't have at least one electric play where he's like physically running away from them, schematically they figured it out, that is a Hugh Freeze problem.
Yeah, I mean, especially if you find yourself in situations that you have so far this year where it's 3rd and long, and if you're at the 50 and like, okay, even if you punt in this situation, like, I don't know. I mean, I know you could pin them back, but there are some situations where I think a jump ball is less risky than it is in other parts of the field. I mean, if you're at the 50 or at midfield and it's 3rd and long, 3rd and 10 plus, which sadly is a reality that we have to assume will happen until we don't see it, right? Which I believe that they're making the proper changes and they're going to call the game to where, they aren't in that, I hope. And I'm sure Hugh Freeze hopes that. But let's say they're in that situation and you throw it up to Cam. Like, you're telling me that's going to be less successful than what you've been doing.
Well, nothing could be.
That's not crazy, right? Like, that's not a crazy thing. I feel like a crazy person saying this.
Well, I don't disagree. And let's look at it from another perspective from other teams. Last week, Miami destroyed Florida State unless you look at the stat box. Florida State won all but like 2 categories. You know what they were? Explosive plays and turnovers. Turnovers is the ultimate. They lost. FSU lost at about a 3-0. That's pretty convincing.
Yeah.
Miami hit 2 bombs.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just, you add that to the turnover. They had 14 points off turnovers. They only ran for like 90 yards. When was the last time you felt good about Auburn's explosive plays? They don't get any.
Yeah, I mean, 2017, maybe. Yeah, right.
That's what I mean. So that has to happen. Part of it's Jackson, part of it's you, but it's not a physical talent thing. Like, this is between the ears problem. And I don't get it.
And I said this on another show, Brian. This is the first time that I can remember, maybe since 2017, where you're going into a game against Georgia or Alabama and the roster isn't lopsided.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. It would have to be 17, if not before, that Auburn had this many guys that we think at least at some point will be draftable, for lack of a better phrase. Like Eric Winters eventually will get drafted. Blockton, guys like that. Defensively, This is the most talented Auburn defense in a minute.
Yeah. So there's been a lot of talk about what Auburn's going to do offensively. We're assuming a lot on the defensive side of the ball. Is that okay to do going into this one? That's next, right here on Locked On Auburn. Today's show brought to you by our friends at Supply House. When the opening whistle blows on a new repair, get your crew moving forward with Supply House. Order today and see parts on your doorstep tomorrow. Over 280,000 plumbing, HVAC, and electrical items for the most trusted brands in the business. Their real-time inventory and honest lead times keep you from punting projects, while their industry-leading customer service always has your blind side covered. Need parts fast for a project? Supply House has next-day delivery. That's a game changer. Join the free Trademaster program today and score serious perks like priority shipping, lower prices, and a dedicated support line. Visit supplyhouse.com to sign up for free and use promo code SHCollege5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. Real people, real service. Today's show also brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. I'll bring this up to Brian later in the show, but been a lot of chatter both nationally and locally about this line. It's going back and forth, 3.5, 4.5, 3.5, 4.5. As we sit here and record this, the line, according to our friends at FanDuel, Auburn just a 3.5-point dog against Georgia. That's interesting. Georgia's begging you to take, or FanDuel is begging you to take Georgia. So you can get in on the action right now. New customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. Pick a bet, put $5 down. If it hits, you unlock $300 in bonus bets to use throughout the app. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started. Brian Smith, host of The Portal, hanging out with us. There's been so much conversation and attention about Hugh Freeze fixing the offense, which is obviously important, but the defense does have its hands full. I know there's differing opinions on Gunnar Stockton. What I've seen from him, I think he's solid. I think he's a solid quarterback with really good pieces around him. There are questions about the offensive line. Georgia has had to replace and kind of, I don't think they've started the same offensive line in back-to-back games this year. It's my understanding of their situation. Is that enough of a mismatch where we're able to kind of lean back going into this and say, no, the defense will be fine. This is really like, can the offense do enough? Is that fair?
Their problem on defense is they can't rush the passer. So Auburn will be able to throw the ball a little bit better. And offensively, it has been a revolving door, especially on the right side. I think Juan Gaston is the future at right tackle. He'll be a 3-year guy into the NFL.
Okay.
Maybe he's kind of the next. He's one of the biggest human beings I've ever stood next to. He was 388 at Under Armour. That's large. But
wow.
He can move. It's ridiculous.
388?
Yep.
Crazy.
And yeah, he's 6'8", 388. But he's down to he's lost weight. He's 350 now.
A slim 350. That's wild. That's wild.
But the right guard spot is somewhere I think Auburn might be able to take advantage. At one point, it was Dontrell Glover, a kid I was covering last year in high school. He's a true freshman. So you might have a true freshman next to a true freshman. At Georgia, you got to be able to win those battles. You also have to be able to play line games with them and do a few extra things. You need a few quote-unquote freebies. Maybe you get a sack strip fumble, something like that. And I'm guessing that's what Vegas is seeing because, Georgia's not grading out real good up front, but they've got some talented running backs. I don't know for sure, but Chauncey Bowens, I think, is kind of taking over their number one. He's a power guy, but they're not very consistent at run blocking either.
So do you think Durkin puts Keldrick on some of those guys and say, all right, here 100%. We go. Let's see what you got.
They'll probably move Keldrick around anyway because Kirby and his staff aren't stupid. They know that's the first guy they got to try and not eliminate, but mitigate. They'll chip
got to be aware of where he is for sure.
Yeah, I bet they move Keldrick inside. If they got a true freshman at right guard or left guard or wherever, shoot. You put your veteran, soon-to-be first-round draft pick right in front of him on 3rd and 7.
Yeah.
So, some of this isn't that hard. Secondary part, though, will they do a lot of different things up front with line games? I would. You only need one play in a game where you get a free rusher at the quarterback and pop the ball loose to change it.
Mm-hmm.
So, this, again, 3.5, I'm not a betting guy. I would give that and take Georgia, but one play like that, heck, Georgia loses the game.
Yeah, they're begging you to take Georgia, though. They're begging you.
I know. It's just at some point, Auburn's going to have a big offensive play, too. It's just by law of averages. Mm-hmm. You can't play any worse than they have offensively. It's not possible.
Right.
So the combination
at least they haven't turned the ball over, though, right? Jackson taking care of the football, that's kind of what's kept them in it to some extent.
You still got to make that one special play. It's just like I mentioned a minute ago, Miami only had a few big plays in the game, but they scored on them. Yeah. They didn't miss. They punched it. Can Auburn maybe get one of those? Again, his number is 8. He runs really fast and he's 6'4". Throw him the football. But beyond that, they got to come up with something on defense that changes it. And this is ripest situations you're going to get. Gunner's better than people give him credit for.
I agree.
Their line is iffy. They don't have one of those unbelievable tight ends. They got a few guys that are pretty good, but nothing great. And they don't have a number one receiver either. They got some good players.
Mm-hmm.
This is not the 2022 or 23 Dogs. They're not even close.
Right.
So, in their pass rush,
but they're still good.
Yeah,
like,
they're just
it might be Kirby's worst team in 5 years, but that does not mean they are bad. They are a good football team.
I think it's his worst team that he's had because he was so talented when he walked in the door. Yeah, this what is it, 9 years? Yeah, they don't have a number one on the D line. They don't have a number one at receiver. Running back's pretty good, but O-line's a mess. Quarterback probably not going to get drafted. Linebacker's still ridiculous. That's kind of a Georgia theme.
Sure.
Secondary's pretty good when they don't fall down like they did against Tennessee. But they don't have that top 10 pick, that automatic guy.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the weirdest thing. They literally have a terrible pass rush. Stat of the day. They had Damon Wilson last year, the outside linebacker edge guy, transferred to Missouri. He has more pressures by himself than the Georgia D-line combined. If you don't beat Georgia this year, when are you going to beat them?
That's kind of where I'm at, man. That's
kind
of where I'm at. Like we had that conversation about Bama to some extent, and they're way better than I thought they would be, especially after FSU.
Georgia
I'm with you. Like, if you're not going to stop the streak against Georgia, like, what a prime opportunity that you have in front of you. And like, my gut tells me, like, my brain is telling me, like, yeah, Georgia wins this game, but there's something about it where, like, I'm having a hard time picking Georgia in this game because of a lot of stuff we're talking about.
Law of averages, man. At some point, you're going to have a special play. Remember the Texas A&M game last year? A lot of people thought A&M was going to roll. It was 21-0 before you could say hello to the guy you were sitting next to at the game.
Right.
Sometimes you got to have something happen good early in the game. Now, if Georgia runs the opening kickoff back for a touchdown, then it could Katie bar the door. You need something in that first 5 minutes.
Unfortunately, Todd Gurley did that once against us.
Okay, I'm not going to.
Unfortunately, that happened. So appreciate that. Appreciate that.
It is what it is.
But yeah. So, all right, who wins this game? Let's drop a few predictions. That's next, right here on Locked On Auburn. Today's show brought to you by our friends at Mazda Crafts Cars. For those who do more than simply move, from footwork to breathwork, athletes sweat all the details, and Mazda brings that same intention to how they craft every model. You can make everyday drives feel like anything but, from smooth handling to intuitive controls. With all-wheel drive standard in every crossover SUV, you can drive with confidence throughout almost any season. Like our players, we sweat every detail, because when you make every move count, impossible becomes irrelevant. Mazda, move and be moved. Today's show also brought to you by our friends at Quo. One of the tools that makes a huge difference for business owners is Quo, formerly Open Phone. It's the same great business phone system you've heard me talk about before, just with a new name. And here's why it matters. Every missed call is money left on the table. With every customer conversation counts, you need a phone system that keeps you connected 24/7. Quo is the #1 business phone system that streamlines customer communications. It works right through an app on your phone or computer, so no more carrying extra phones. It's all on that first one. You don't even need to rely on a landline anymore. So see why over 90,000 businesses trust Quo, formerly Open Phone. Get started free and get 20% off your first 6 months at quo.com/lockedoncollege. That is QUO.com/lockedoncollege. And if you've got existing numbers with another service, Quo will port them over for free. Quo, no missed calls, no miss customers. Brian Smith, host of The Portal, hanging out with us. Final few minutes on today's edition of the show. What are you expecting? Like, just brass tacks, get down to it. What are you expecting from Auburn against Georgia on Saturday? More of the same or something different?
I think they'll actually call some shot plays early in the game. Whether or not they work, I don't know, because Jackson hasn't been real willing to throw a lot of those. So they need to connect on something like that, or it's going to be hard, because Georgia's still got a good run defense for the most part, and they're probably not going to be real easy to move the ball again. You need some help. The other thing I'm curious about, and this is the one thing I feel confident for Auburn's sake, Jackson running the ball, he is not much fun to tackle, and he's pretty elusive, to be honest. He's pretty good.
Yeah, he's a great runner. Yeah.
They need to find a way to get him the ball in space based on something they haven't shown yet. You're not going to out-coach Kirby. You got to show something brand new. I don't know what it is they're going to pull out of their bag, but they got to do it. Only other thing is watch number 1 for Georgia, corner. Robinson, he's sophomore. He was 5-star kid out of IMG. He has not really lived up to the hype. He's a kid that you can beat deep. If he's lined up on Cam, I want to see them go deep.
Interesting. My biggest fear on Saturday is they do a dramatic shift and they call 2-run plays. And like you said, Georgia's ready for it. They're a good run defense.
Yeah.
It's 3rd and 8. And you don't convert. How does Jordan Hare respond if that happens?
Won't be well. It won't be well.
That is my biggest concern. So that's why I love that you said shot plays early.
Yeah, one of the first 5 plays needs to be conservative.
Or mix it in there. Like, I wouldn't mind a run on first down just to kind of say like, hey, we're going to make you prepare for everything on first down, because as of up to this point, they have not done that.
True.
But a shot play on 2nd and 9, 2nd and 8, 2nd and 7, like, I don't hate that. I don't mind that. I don't mind that at all.
Worst case you can do is make their safeties think about charging the box. If it's incomplete, or if it's a bomb and it's intercepted, it's like a punt. It's just, you have to back off their safeties because their front 7 is just ridiculously talented. Probably the most talented in college football. So, yeah, you need to be able to.
More than Oklahoma's right now?
Yeah, as far as the linebacker depth, is insane.
Okay.
I'll take Oklahoma's D-line by a mile.
Got it.
Mix in the linebackers, I'll take Georgia.
That makes sense. And then defensively, I have a hard time seeing both of these teams get into the 20s. I'm being honest with you. I think this is going to be a low-scoring, kind of ugly game, is what my gut is telling me.
Yeah, I could see that. My biggest concern looking at it from the Auburn perspective is Gunner running. He's a better athlete than people realize. He'll go get you 8-10 yards, and he had a couple of nice runs against Kentucky. If he pulls it and comes around the end, they got to be disciplined, and they still got to hold the point.
Auburn's done good against mobile guys, though. I mean, with Bakir and Marcel Reed, they've done a pretty decent job of kind of eliminating that aspect of it.
That's the only thing. Like, he doesn't have that rep, but he can go. Chauncey's going to get some yards, but do you really think that Gunner is going to pick you apart over and over again? Not really. His receivers aren't great. He's got a few, like Colby Young can make some plays, but if you make them go 10-plus plays, with that young offensive line that false starts, the run game is okay. But if they get in passing situations, do you trust those guys? Probably not. But Auburn should be able to keep them to 17 to 20 points.
I think I'm there with you.
Yeah, it's kind of in that range.
17-21 is a totally reasonable score here.
Yeah. 23-21 is like the high end. That's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah. I'm not expecting a ton of points. The over-under is 45.5, so they're expecting a 20 to 24-ish type game, 21-24 type game with a 3.5 point spread.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it's going to be a hair lower. I think I would take the under on that if I was betting that. Take it for what it's worth. Yeah. And look, Hugh Freeze has a few of these a year. He just hasn't closed them out. I mean, you think about when they came to Jordan Hare 2 years ago in Hugh's first year, Auburn had the lead in the fourth quarter. It was looking great. And then Brock Bowers just took over. Can you have that type of game plan again where your rosters are more equal now than they ever have been?
The difference in the roster now to then is, and I'm not saying Georgia's taking massive drop back. They just don't have the offensive explosive guy at tight end like they did. Now they got Branch. That's a guy that hasn't got loose yet, but he's electric. I'm surprised by that. But Auburn's handled those kind of guys for the most part, except for the Baylor game. They've gotten a lot better since then.
Right. Trigg. Yeah.
Trigg. I mean, that's a different kind of animal.
Yeah. And Auburn hasn't been great at inside leverage stuff. And so I'm passing against Auburn. I'm calling in breaking routes like crazy until they stop it. But I have a hard time complaining about the defense. I mean, they've been great. They've been so good this year.
They've been pretty loyal considering they have to trot it back out onto the field every 38 seconds. So you can't really complain about it. So,
right.
Well,
all right. Yeah, we'll see what happens. I'm sure you will get lots of texts from me either way. So, Brian, how can people check out everything you've got going on?
Locked on the portal. I've got 3 or 4 podcasts up today. It's a lot of fun talking about the portal stuff again. And unfortunately, there are a lot of
changes to the portal.
That's what I mean. If you have not heard, there's only going to be one portal cycle. Whatever team you root for, if you miss it up in the January cycle, it's
and then they changed it for a new coach. Apparently the new thing is the window doesn't open for when you fire a coach. It opens after you hire the new coach.
Oh, really?
That's what I read.
Well, if that's the case, then I got to do a pod on that too. So
yeah. Yep. There you go. Right. There you go. Give the portal some love for sure. Please like the video. Please subscribe. We'll see you next time. This has been Locked On Auburn.